The Fifth Hover, Part 2, a Crossout video by Dangerously Incompetent. Now in the Fifth Hover video, I used, where's it gone? This build that I got out at the exhibition, Quantum Nuka-Cola, which is a really rather nifty racer. And I was so preoccupied with all its features that I forgot to mention why having the Fifth Hover is actually a good idea. So in this video, I'm going to rectify that omission. I've rebuilt this time with the build facing the correct direction as far as I'm concerned, so that I can use the sideways build key bindings that I've already memorized. I've kept all the pertinent features from before. We've got the Fifth Hover, and you can see there in the middle. We have the center of thrust balanced with the center of mass, so I don't drop when you boost, you don't drive the nose into the ground or up into the air. The center of lift from the movement parts is balanced with the center of mass, so the whole build is level. It's not pitched with the nose up or down. We've got two sets of boosters as before, and one of which can be jettisoned. Poof. So when it's been used up, and then you jettison the mass and get more efficiency out of the remaining boosters. I've made a few improvements. Firstly, I replaced 4 of the blast off boosters with Hermes boosters, because I had 4 Hermes boosters. Hermes boosters have more thrust and they have more fuel, and they get a bigger refuel every time you go through a gate and you're not first in the race. But they have more mass, which means you get less acceleration. So they could be an advantage, they could be a disadvantage. I'm still undecided, but I put them in anyway. I've also raised up all the boosters, so they're now level with the frame or higher, which takes them further away from the ground, which means you're less likely to scrape and go boom when you're zooming along at speed. And because I've raised all the boosters up, I've needed to raise the center of mass, which is why the Colossus engine and the fuel barrels and fuel tanks are up here, way above the cabin. Looks a bit funny, but it means the whole thing is still balanced. The other improvement is I've spread the rear hovers apart, which makes it easier for them to return the craft to level flight after you've gone over a bump or hit a boost or something and you've rolled over on one side. If you go back and look at the Fifth Hover video, you'll see because all its hovers are so close together, it ends up rolling around, rocking side to side, and your sides end up closer to the ground more often than they need to be. You can find this pinnacle of race build development in the exhibition, D_I, FifthHoverII. So you can try it out for yourself and let me know how you get along. I'll put the name in the description below. Now we come to the main point of this video, the Fifth Hover. See, I haven't forgotten this time. Why have a Fifth Hover? After all, every hover you put in has -5% power. And -5% power means less acceleration, and you really rather want more acceleration if you're racing. So why pay the penalty for having a Fifth Hover? Well, it's grounding. If you've ever driven off-road, you'll know what I mean. The longer the distance between your wheels, or in this case hovers, movement parts, the greater your chance of grounding. The greater the chance is that there's a bump here, that your front hovers have gone over it, your rear hovers haven't encountered it, but the middle of your build, your boosters and your frame or whatever, touches it, and if you ground at speed, kaboomy! And the longer your wheelbase, hover base, the more likely you are to ground. So putting the Fifth Hover in the slap bang in the middle, it halves the wheelbase and reduces the chance of touching the ground and going boom. These two screenshots illustrate what I'm going on about. It's the same build, apart from the one on the left has 4 hovers and the one on the right has the Fifth Hover in the center, taken on the same place on the map, going over the same bump. Which one has the greater ground clearance? Which one would you rather be in when you're travelling at speed over some bumpy ground? That's right, the Fifth Hover version. I'm quite pleased with this build. It performs rather well, as you can see from my race history here. Incidentally, if you're looking to gain reputation, scrap and fuel and gain it fast, I heartily recommend Race to you. Mainly because Race Brawl is considerably shorter than most mission battles and an awful lot shorter than raids. But wait dangerously, I hear you cry. That's just a static image, easily manipulated, easily falsified. You could be telling us fake news on its performance. Oh, alright, let's watch a video of a race, shall we? What's my opposition going to be like in this race? Well, it mostly seems to be wheels and some big rams. That big ram didn't look like a racer to me, but never mind. It's all opposition I can beat. And here's the other hover, a compact and bijou little number. With only 4 hovers. Inferior. Bound to beat him. So long as I can keep myself level and boost along. You'll notice I'm only using... Oh, what's he doing here? I'm pointing in the air. I'm flying. Da 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 da. That's my Superman moment. Yes, where was I? Oh yeah, one set of boosters. I'm using left button set of boosters, so I'm well in the lead. I'm not getting any booster refuel when I go through the gates. So I'm going to boost, boost, boost. Use these all up. As I slide easily, through the gates because I'm on a hover and I can pre-turn. I've almost used up all my booster fuel in the first set of boosters. There's the big ram again. Yay, it doesn't even look like he's got boosters. Now jettison the used up boosters, reduce my mass and therefore increase my acceleration. And just coast to a victory rather than struggling along at 75 kilometers an hour, which is the hover's limit. Because I've run out of booster fuel, I've got my second set of boosters and I can zoom along quite happily. Not super fast, which I could do if I had all my boosters still full of fuel, but then I couldn't have, they wouldn't be full of fuel because I've been first all the time and I'm not getting refuels and I've used it all up. As it is, I've used up my first set and now I've just about used my second set up and we've finished. Timed it nice. That's it for the Fifth Hover Part 2. I hope this video's been useful to you. And if it has, maybe you can help me in return. See, I've got a problem. All my race hovers have suffered from this problem of inexplicable turning under boosting. I'm boosting along the straight, going super fast, and then I stop boosting and start turning in order to get through a gate. And then when I've stopped turning, I start boosting again. But when I start boosting again, the vehicle turns of its own accord in the opposite direction to where I just turned. I'll show you what I mean. Boost along, stop boosting, start turning, stop turning, start boosting, and it rotates the opposite direction. And I haven't got my boosters lopsided or anything, because it'll happen when I turn the opposite direction. I go, oh, there you go, see it? And it's really rather frustrating because I'm spending a lot of my time in race compensating for that, pressing the left and right buttons to try and compensate for that, and it's very easy to get it wrong and you end up fluffing your turn, missing the gate and losing the race. In fact, when I fail to win, about half the time it's because I've crashed and the other half the time it's because I haven't managed to compensate for these inexplicable turning under boost. If you know why it turns under boost without you pressing left or right and how you could stop it doing that, I'd really like to know. So tell me on Twitter, link in the description below. Cheers.